Hey everybody, how's it going? On this video I have got Jupiter. I finally went out and battled the mosquitoes to get this Jupiter tuned in to where we could get the bands to show up. You know, the way I've been shooting it, I've been getting the moons nice and clean because I had the ISO turned up higher. So I found the setting. I was going to share that with you guys here in case any of you wonder, you know, if you're trying to figure this out yourself. I'll tell you the easy way to do it. It all has to do with the ISO setting on your camera. We start out here with the medium level where you can get some of the moons to come through and get the bands to a certain degree. Now I believe this was 800 on the ISO. I found that 800 was the optimal setting to get the bands to come out nice and clean. It's on up, I'll show you that. But yeah, you can faintly see the two. Now the third moon just come in from the bottom left there. And here it is, repeating a little closer up. See the moon at the top. The bands are not real prominent, but they're going to get better. But as the bands get better, of course, the moons fade out because you got to have the ISO turned down lower. Like I said, 800 I found to be the best, but you can't see the moons. So you can see give or take, you know. But I just filmed it both ways and showing it to you guys both ways. So if you have one of these P900s or the 1000 and you wonder, how come you can't get the bands of Jupiter, well, you have to go into the settings, and I'll tell you guys how it's simple. It was a lot more simple than what I thought it would be. I had to do it by trial and error. So anyway, here now you can see the bands real nicely here. Pretty good, but the moons, you had to pull the ISO down low enough to where the bands look good, but the moons don't come through. So that's the give and take on it. Yeah, I had to battle the mosquitoes to even get this. This was July, like the 1st, I believe, 2019. Yeah, so I'm gonna let it run past here. That's the wind blowing. Finally got the stripes in there. This is a full pass, The thing is you have to get the camera set perfectly. That little bit of movement, that's the wind. You got to get the camera just right, and then not, you got to get your hands off of it to get even this much stability. Otherwise it's going to shake. As long as you're touching that camera and you're zoomed in, it's going to be shaking. But this is, I'm not touching it. This is just totally tripod here. So that's another thing. If you want your videos to be more smooth and professional looking, then you got to get that, get that thing set and let go of it. Okay, here you go. Now I turned it up back up to 800, and you can see the moons again. See, now this is where it's turned up to 1600, and the moons are starting to come through real nice. Yeah, they come through real nice, but you can see the distortion, the artifacts on the screen from the ISO being turned up so high. But yeah, look there, the moons are coming through pretty nicely, and you can almost see the bands. That's 800 ISO on the P1000, but the moons come through nicely. This is 32 on the ISO setting. It says pretty high, 32. It'll go to 64, but I believe this is 32. I just got to get the camera settled down here so I can let go of it. And this is it, hands-free. The only movement you see there is the wind. But the moons come through pretty bright when you have the settings up this high on the ISO, but it's just not, it's grainy, and it's the only benefit is that the moons come out nice and bright. Other than that, this is not really that useful, but it's interesting nonetheless. The ISO is in increments, so it starts at 125, and then it goes to 200, and then it's 400, 800, 1600, 3200, and 6400. Hear them cows. There's one more moon coming up. Yeah, now this is 1600. What I was showing you was 32. So I brought up the satellites on the last video, but I was vague. I'd like to be more clear on what the issue I have with the satellites is. The only one I've actually seen launched for real was with a high altitude balloon. There's video of them launched out of Antarctica or Alaska. So that's the only ones I've seen. As far as the ones supposedly out in space, there's no images, there's no videos, there's nothing. I've looked, and it's not there. They're nowhere to be seen. So when someone can show me an actual satellite floating around in space, orbiting, doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, show me that, and then then I will change my tune about it. But as far as I can tell, the only evidence I've seen of satellites are launched with these high altitude balloons. So that's where I'm at with it right now, anyway. But show me the proof. Okay, now here is the moon arch. I know it's a shadow illusion, but it's weird. And anyway, it's going to come up here in a second. It's just I had to get the camera set, where I could get my hands off of it so that it would, give a nice pass by and show the arch as close as possible. I shot this in 4K just to see if it would, get a better, more clear image of it, and it's pretty good. It's the best one I caught so far of this moon arch, as I call it. Look at it though. It is so weird. It's got a little face up there, upper right of it, like a, I don't know, cartoon character face, but that's just some weird looking stuff right there. And how in the heck does that make a crater make a shadow like that? Just very, very strange. This stuff is not exactly normal looking either. Look there. Looks like stuff's lighting up on the Terminator line there. It looks like things are lit up. Yeah, it wasn't like that though. Back when I was growing up, I never seen those crazy, wacky stuff on the moon like that. Don't give me no grief over it. That's crazy. You can see stuff with the binoculars. By the way, go outside, look at Jupiter with the binoculars, and you can see the moons if you got a decent pair of binoculars. And I never remember that being a thing either. I mean, that is so weird. Jupiter is so close, That's another reason. It's so hard for me to take these things seriously, I think I stated in the last prior video anyway that I didn't think Jupiter was a planet. I thought it was being beamed up there. I don't know. Nothing about the sky seems real anymore. It's such a, such a fakery. But here's some pretty good captures. Jupiter. Now this was on a different night, so the moons are just a little bit different position here. But now see, you can't get, this is the best I could get it to where you could see the moons and Jupiter nice and clean, but you don't get the bands. So I have to turn down the ISO to get the bands to come in. But this is what you get if you want the medium. I want a little of both. Oh, by the way, you get set your camera to manual mode. Manual movie mode is what I used for this. Each time you record, you have to stop the recording, go into the ISO, to the settings, turn the ISO down, lower and lower until you get the bands to come in. And then, of course, you go backwards up to get the moons to come in. So go down with the ISO to bring the bands out on Jupiter. Go up with the ISO to bring the moons of Jupiter out. So that's basically it, in a nutshell. Very simple, I made it way too difficult in my mind, and I just went out and battled with the mosquitoes until I figured it out. And it didn't take me that long. And I thought, is that all there was to it, So it's pretty simple. But anyway, that's it, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. Thank y'all so much. Y'all stay safe out there. Take care.